All right, today we're looking at how two completely different parts of the world are tackling cancer. And what's so interesting is that it's a tale of two totally unique strategies, but they're both aiming for the exact same goal. So let's dive right in.
I mean, that's the big question, right? How do you even begin to fight a disease as incredibly complex as cancer? There's just no single silver bullet. The answer, it turns out, really depends on where you live, who you are, and the very specific kind of threat you're up against.
And the challenges couldn't be more different. On one side of the planet, in Australia and New Zealand, you've got this perfect storm of intense UV radiation and a population that's pretty susceptible to it. The result, the world's highest rates of skin cancer. Then you hop over to Europe, and the landscape changes completely. There, breast cancer is the #1 cancer-related killer of women. So right off the bat, you have two totally distinct problems, which of course are going to need two very different playbooks.
Okay, so first up, let's head down under and see what Australia's been up to. Their whole philosophy was basically that the best defense is a good offense. They decided to focus all their energy on stopping the cancer from ever showing up in the first place.
And when you see this number, you'll understand why. A whopping 95%. Think about that for a second. 95% of skin cancers in Australia are caused by UV radiation. That number is just staggering. But what it really means is that almost all of them are preventable. And if you have a problem that's that preventable, well, the smartest thing you can do is build a massive public shield to stop it.
And that is exactly what they did. Look, this wasn't some one-off public service announcement. This was a full-on, decades-long cultural project. It all kicked off back in 1981 with that super catchy slip, slop, slap jingle that everyone remembers. From there, they took it into the schools, making sun safety just a normal part of a kid's day. They even updated the slogan to make it better. And they went head-to-head with the tanning industry, ultimately getting commercial tanning beds banned. It just shows this relentless, constantly evolving dedication to public health.
And the message today is just so brilliantly simple. It's actionable, it's easy to remember, every single word is a direct instruction. Slip, slop, slap. Seek, slide. It's not about getting bogged down in complicated science. It's all about creating simple daily habits that, when millions of people do them, can literally change the health of an entire nation.
So what this all boils down to is this. Australia's whole strategy is built on mass communication and changing behavior. They're targeting the entire population, trying to fundamentally shift the whole culture around being out in the sun. You could call it a preventative blueprint, designed for everyone.
Okay, now let's completely switch gears and continents. We're heading over to Europe, where the fight against breast cancer took a totally different route. Instead of aiming their efforts at the general public, they turned the magnifying glass inward, focusing on the healthcare system itself.
The goal is just as clear-cut: save lives. But the method? A whole different ballgame. The focus here isn't on prevention. It's all about catching the cancer as early as humanly possible, because that's what dramatically reduces mortality. And to do that, you need a system that's incredibly precise, totally reliable, and just ridiculously well organized.
And the engine driving this entire approach is a concept called quality assurance. Now, this isn't just some fuzzy corporate buzzword. It's a core philosophy. It basically means that anything and everything that can be defined, measured, and controlled will be. We're talking about everything from the exact calibration of a mammography machine to the continuing education of a radiologist. Every single step in the chain is optimized and constantly monitored.
And this quote really nails the mindset perfectly. It's saying, hey, it's not enough to just get a good result at the end. The European guidelines are really strict about this. The entire process has to be excellent. How is the program set up? How was it actually implemented? Did the women participating feel it was acceptable? The system itself is basically on trial, 24/7, always being tweaked and refined.
But at the heart of this big, complex machine, it's all about people. We're talking about a full, multidisciplinary team that discusses every single case that needs more treatment. And this isn't just a random list of specialists. It's more like a strategic council. You get everyone in the same room, the surgeon, the pathologist, the radiologist, even a nurse counselor, and you just obliterate those informational silos. Decisions get made holistically, with every single angle considered at the same time.
And this whole system isn't just about teamwork, it's about accountability. That team is held to some incredibly specific and measurable standards. For instance, take surgical accuracy. The goal, the minimum standard, is to remove the lesion correctly on the very first operation in over 90% of cases. Just stop and think about what that one data point really means for a patient. It means less physical trauma, less emotional stress, fewer follow-up surgeries, and a way more efficient and effective system overall. It's a true quality control machine, built to save lives through just relentless precision.
So there you have it. Two totally different playbooks, right? Each one is perfectly tailored to the specific challenge it's facing, but they're both driving toward the exact same finish line, reducing the absolutely devastating impact of cancer.
Let's put them right next to each other. On one hand, you have Australia's blueprint. Its focus, primary prevention. Its method, huge public campaigns. Its target, the behavior of the general population. On the other hand, you have Europe's machine. Its focus, screening and diagnosis. Its method, strict systemic standards. Its target, the performance of the healthcare system itself. One looks outward to the public, the other looks inward to the professionals. So, what can we learn from this tale of two strategies? What does it tell us about the much bigger fight against cancer and maybe even other complex public health crises?
Well, I think the biggest takeaway is pretty clear. There is no single magic bullet. There's just no one-size-fits-all solution here. The best strategy is always going to be the one that's custom-built for the specific problem you're trying to solve. For a cancer that's highly preventable and tied to behavior, like in Australia, a public awareness blueprint is absolutely the way to go. But for a cancer where catching it early is everything, a precision-driven, quality-controlled machine like Europe's is the answer.
And that kind of leaves us with one last big question to chew on. The debate really isn't about prevention versus precision. It's not about which one is better. The real question is, how can we master both? Because the future of fighting cancer and public health in general probably depends on it. Imagine combining the massive population-wide reach of Australia's blueprint with the incredibly fine-tuned detail of Europe's machine. The next great breakthrough might not be a new pill or a new therapy, it might just be a whole new way of thinking about the system itself.